Critical minerals are essential for modern technologies, economies and national security, and crucial for a wide range of applications in renewable energy technologies, advanced computing and various other industries. Joining me now is Locksley Resources' Allister Caird, who's here to tell us all about critical minerals and their particular importance in countries like the United States. Allister, thanks so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me on, Tyler. Cheers.
So can you start by giving us an overview on the latest developments in the US critical minerals industry?
Yep, sure. So there are a number of recent developments that have shifted the critical mineral landscape in the US. The first and most widely publicised is the ongoing US-China trade tensions. The second being the March 20 executive order issued by the Trump administration calling for immediate measures to increase American mineral production. In practice, what this means is a reduction of regulatory hurdles to try and accelerate the timeline of mineral production in the US. Lastly, and most recently, the June 30 presidential memorandum aimed at simplifying funding mechanisms for critical mineral projects in the US. Importantly for Locksley, this means a more centralised, prioritised and streamlined funding pathway for projects like our Mojave project in California.
And what commodities do you see the administration trying to source in particular?
I think the US will focus its initial efforts on critical minerals that are primarily sourced from China. Having offshore supply chains is one thing, but when your offshore supply chains are subject to growing US-China trade tensions, I think that dramatically escalates the need for a near-term solution. Importantly for Locksley, both rare earths and antimony are primarily sourced from China, which puts our Mojave project squarely in focus for US policymakers.
So why has the US been historically slow to build its industry compared to countries like China?
I believe there are a number of factors why the US have fallen behind in this space. I think the first can be attributed to China's strategic move to dominate global supply of critical minerals by heavily subsidising mining and processing. I think the US seemed content to prioritise importing cheap offshore supply. I think the second reason the US has fallen behind in this space is the regulatory environment. Increased regulatory hurdles and increased permitting timelines has essentially and ultimately decreased investment. And then thirdly, I think the lack of a coordinated industrial policy in the US. Unlike China's centralised approach, the US has not viewed critical mineral supply as a national security priority. Fast forward today and the pendulum has well and truly swung in the other direction.
So what are the added benefits to being in the United States as opposed to a friendly country like Australia and Canada?
Unlike Australia and Canada that have quite mature domestic supply chains, the US is essentially rebuilding its critical mineral supply chain from the ground up. And what that means is increased federal funding ability and off-take opportunities at a scale that really is only available in the US.
And what potential partnerships are there for a company like Locksley?
Well, with our renewed corporate strategy integrating downstream initiatives, the potential partnerships for a company like Locksley Resources has grown considerably. Our initial focus is on Department of Energy or DOE national laboratories to develop, co-develop or license novel technologies related to our critical mineral portfolio, antimony and rare earths. We see the potential benefits here to be threefold. The first is the time, complexity and cost saving that technology will bring to Locksley's business. The second is the potential commercialisation pathways as we scale up that technology for industry. And then the third is the increased funding exposure contributing to DOE aligned programs that this will bring to Locksley Resources.
Finally, what are the current domestic capabilities of downstream processing and what else can the US do to strengthen itself sufficiently?
The domestic capabilities for processing rare earths and antimony is extremely limited in the US. Like the mining of rare earths and antimony, the processing of these minerals is also dominated by China, meaning very little expertise actually resides in the US. The benefit here is that the presidential actions that we talked about before are not limited to the upstream sector, but also extend to downstream sector and energy and critical mineral infrastructure projects. We see a lot of movement in this space and believe there is a platform for more modular processing facilities, which we hope will support a more expedited pathway to production at our Mojave project in California.
Allister, thanks for joining us today and sharing all of your insights on critical minerals in the US.
Thanks, Tyler. Appreciate you having me on.
For more ASX news and analysis, subscribe below.